Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwin, and you were watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about the Death Guard Traitor Legion as we get into the Foul Blightspawn and the Biologus Putrifier, two special ranks within the Death Guard Traitor Legion. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K content every single day, and if you have any suggestions, just comment down below. But with that said, let's get into 40 facts on the Foul Blightspawns and the Biologus Putrifier. A Foul Blightspawn is one of the most feared ranks found within the Death Guard Traitor Legion. These Chaos Space Marines find great joy in watching their victims suffer from Nurgle's many diseases. All Foul Blightspawns start off as simple Plague Marines. Their pleasure in watching others feel pain sparks mutations that go beyond the grotesque modifications seen in normal Plague Marines. Their flesh bulges with putrid flab until it becomes translucent. Their eyes dribble from their sockets as black slime, leaving the Blightspawn to see only in shadows of warp energy. Their mouths twist into fanged, puckered spouts, and a wretched stench seeps from their pores. The most important mutation occurs in the Plague Marine's mind. Throughout his transformation, forbidden secrets of Nurgle's plague craft blossom in the Blightspawn's mind, compelling them toward obsessive alchemy and the joyous brewing of noxious diseases. When the Plague Marine's head is full of these malevolent illnesses, and his many gifts have morphed his body into a grotesque monster, Nurgle calls these new Blightspawn to the disease factories of the Plague Planet. The disease factories of the Plague Planet are as bloated and corrupt as the beings that wander their halls. They are sprawling abominations of gurgling pipes, bubbling vats, belching smokestacks, and rusted cages, crammed with test subjects and living ingredients. So vast are they that their masters have divided them up into virtual nations, each ruled by the Blightspawn elder that festers at its heart. Million-strong mortal chaos cults reside in these factories, scurrying to do the bidding of their foul masters, and worshipping the Plague Marines as demigods of Nurgle, even as they slowly sicken and die. Devoted to brewing the plagues favored by their ruling elders, these rag-clad lunatics regularly engage in warfare through the smog-filled passages and brewing chambers, much to the amusement of their Death Guard masters. On these plague planets, the foul gears and pistons of the malignant churn are forcibly driven into the Plague Marine's guts, and an incubatum is soldered to its armor, never to be removed, for this is where he will carry the foul concoctions of the god of disease. Amidst the sickening laboratories and bubbling plague vats, the Foul Blightspawns gather to learn from the eldest and foulest of their numbers, being so bloated with corruption they have taken root amidst the disease factories like obscene toxic fungi. Subsects congeal about their disgusting beings, laboring obsessively to brew the perfect diseases as tribute to the plague god himself. Once his mind is satisfied, the Blightspawn will leave the plague planet and join his diseased brothers in real space. He will bring his hideous alchemaic lore with him, and inside his incubatums are batches of his latest, finest work, ready to be unleashed on all living things. Blightspawns are revolting, even to the Plague Marines of the Death Guard legions. A putrid stench wafts around the Foul Blightspawn, his corruption clouding the air itself. Breath rattles through pus-slick tubes as he cranks the rusted handles of his malignant churn, bellows wheezing and plague slop roiling in the incubatums upon his back. Some foes stare in bewilderment at this strange performance. Some direct their fire at the Blightspawn, shots rebounding from his armor or thumping harmlessly through the rotted flesh. The wise flee for their lives. With a grunt of satisfaction, the Blightspawn deems his mixture ready and rises the nozzle of his plague sprayer. A gurgling surge and a fountain of stinking slime engulfs the enemy. Flesh melts like wax, armor bubbles and corrodes, souls rot and bones crumble, as the last of his target devolves into infectious sludge. The Blightspawn chuckles and nods to himself, before lumbering on search for a next victim. A Foul Blightspawn will attract the attention of another unique member of the Death Guard Legion. Known as a Biologus Putrifier, these Plague Marines are driven by an obsessive desire to test their concocted plague batches to perfection. Putrifiers refine the batches of diseases brewed by the Foul Blightspawn and distill them to the utmost potency. So specialized are these traitors to their task that their mutations are specifically gifted in order to better detect the potency of their viruses. Putrifiers bear a unique mutation, lidless, milky eyes that grow like cysts concealed beneath their flesh. Known as aculobes, the gaze of these foul orbs can penetrate armor, flesh and bone, to perceive every nuisance of infection spread throughout a living body. To aid them in their documentation, the putrifiers croak out their observations to scurrying menials and capering demonic scribes, filling tomes of moldering parchment with forbidden lore. From their backs dangle racks of blight grenades, churning with the latest strain of noxious plagues to issue from the disease factories. With every movement, these flasks and vessels rattle and cling together, threatening to shatter and spill the noxious content. As the fury of battle rages around them, the putrifiers urge their brother plague marines to pluck the blight grenades from their racks like spoiled fruits and fling them into the ranks of the foe. With each volley of hurled ordnance, the epidemic spreads, the putrifiers watching every nuance as though in slow motion through their oculobes. Yet to simply observe is not their way. Samples must be extracted, and tests must be run. This is when the injector pistols come into play. Striding into the midst of their reeling foe, the putrifiers pick out the most intriguing entities to assail. Some look for the most resilient enemies upon the field of battle. Others seek out the most easily infected, the bravest, the swiftest, or whatever other esoteric criteria they decide their test subjects must display. With their victims selected, the putrifiers strike. They fire their injector pistols into vulnerable spots, such as exposed flesh, chinks in armor, and eye lenses, before squeezing a concentrated dose of foulness into the target's body. The results are rarely less than spectacular, with victims erupting in explosive boils, liquefying into screaming sludge, vomiting billowing clouds of flies, and countless other revolting and mercifully lethal symptoms. Those specimens, whose deaths are especially fascinating, are pierced with injector pistols once again, this time to extract whatever clotted foulness now passes through their blood, ready for later study. Those enemies who understand the threat posed by the putrifiers do everything in their power to kill them swiftly, yet even this may prove their undoing, for should a putrifier be struck by sufficient firepower, or a powerful enough blow, the attack is liable to rupture his racks of blight grenades, releasing their deadly contents into billowing clouds that slaughter any nearby who lack Nurgle's blessings. One of the most recognizable putrifiers encountered by the Imperium is the traitor Slurt. Slurt is a Biologus Putrifier of the Death Guard warband called the Lords of Silence. A twisted monstrosity like all of his kind, Slurt is blind except for the dozens of mutant eyes that now exist across his body, which can perceive disease and other organic abnormalities. He is in charge of all the Lords of Silence efforts at developing new diseases, toxins, and plagues. Slurt proudly maintains a collection of horribly mutated slaves and plague ogrants to test his latest ideas upon. Slurt takes enormous pleasure in testing out his new contagions, often using them on the crew of the warband's warship. He is not considered trustworthy by his commanding Death Guard Lord, Vorks, or any other plague marine of the warband. It was Slurt who, at the order of Vorks, assembled the arcane machinery needed to capture the Space Marine chapter homeworld of Sabatine, to transform its remaining populace into plague zombies and poxwalkers. The planet had been conquered from the White Councils by the Lords of Silence and the Wordbearers warband called the Weeping Veil. Slurt's action spoiled the Weeping Veil's attempt to sacrifice the planet's people to the Chaos Gods in a ritual that would have summoned 3 greater demons and their demonic legions to Sabatine. Instead, Sabatine was transformed into a new demon world dedicated to Nurgle that became a mirror image of Mortarion's own plague planet in the Eye of Terror. And those were 40 facts on the Foul Blightspawn and the Biologus Putrifier. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to share it with any friends who enjoy the gifts of Grandfather Nurgle, Papa Nurgle. As you can tell, or I'm assuming that you can tell, I am pretty sick. Nurgle has infected me with, hopefully it's not the flu, hopefully it's just like a cold, and it goes away pretty soon. But I figured what better way, or I better take advantage of the fact that I sound like I'm dying and I'm super sick, and do some lore that has to do with Nurgle. So for the next couple days, you guys are probably going to get Nurgle lore, just because it fits the theme of me being sick. And then once I get better, you know, we'll keep going on with the Halloween themes and the scariness, and we'll jump to other chaos lore and hopefully Dark Eldar lore. Now these guys are pretty cool. They are just walking infections. But at the same time, I guess they're intelligent enough to create diseases. When you deal with Nurgle, you kind of think of like jolly, funny-looking like fat guys who are like just, you know, sending a bunch of like vomit and disease. But in reality, they craft all this stuff. These guys are biologists. They mess around with different genomes and all that kind of stuff to make sure that their plagues not only infect humans, but they infect anything that touches that they touch. Also Tau. So if you ever wondered, are there diseased Tau? Yeah, there are diseased Tau. There are definitely diseased Tyranids. Pretty much every faction you can think of, there's been diseased something or another. Usually, what happens is, like, if it's an Eldar that gets a disease, usually they just end up dying. They don't really, like, convert to become Plague Eldar. They're dead. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any other suggestions, comment down below. Don't forget, we have a giveaway going on right now. If you jump on over to the 40 facts on the Chem Dogs, so the Savlar Chem Dogs, we're doing a giveaway for some cool neophyte stuff. I know I said there's only enough to build 5, but I looked at the sprue again, and it turns out, no, you can build all 10, so that's pretty sweet. Again, you can comment as many times as you want, so if you want to go back there and comment again, I would really recommend you do, because that helps your chances of winning. Just don't spam. But yeah, don't forget we have that going on, and thanks for listening, guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow. This is Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate signing out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.